world number 2, the heart of iron, WANGMANYU from China.
Well, emerging from the smoke is WANGMANYU looking for redemption in Chongqing after coming agonizingly close in last year's final. This is the world number 2 taking on Japan's youngster Miwa Harimoto for a place in the semis. This match kicking off 4 quarterfinals in today's second session. For WANGMANYU, the world number 2 has been impressive all week. She's been impressive all year. She's got 1 loss in the last 10 matches, and she will be a tough task for Miwa Harimoto in this best of 5. Well, tomorrow is semi-finals day, and that's when we go to a best of 7. This is the best of 5, with the first to 11 points winning. So we'll look then at the statistics for the pair. The world number 2 against the world number 6, as close as you'd expect at the quarter-final stage. WANGMANYU at her very highest ever world ranking, but still some way behind current world number 1 icon of the sport, Sun Ying-sha. Well, Miwa Harimoto has been far at champions level. Lost in the final in Montpellier last year. Promising youngster, hoping for a decent run in Chongqing. Can she get past last year's finalist?
Red, black for you. You win. You serve. You play on that side.
Miwa Harimoto wins the toss. Whether she wins the match is a very, very different question. WANGMANYU, Adam Bobrow, she will feel that she's got a point to prove in Chongqing after being denied in the final last year.
Being world number 2 at your peak and spending so much time at world number 2, coming up at 18 years old to be at the top of the game still, 8 years later, there's no doubt about it. There's a point to prove. There's motivation for her. In some senses, she's enough by most people's standards, but as a professional athlete, world number 2, a world champion in 2021, she did wonderfully in the Asian Cup just recently, but in WTT, where it really counts, she's got a lot left. Adriana Diaz giving a good match in the round of 32, but 3-0, and then another one from Jen Tongjuan, 3-0, hasn't dropped a game thus far.
Yeah, she's been impressive, pretty imperious. As has Miwa Harimoto. She's dropped just the 1 game en route to this quarter-final, still just 16 years of age. Pro now for the last 3 years and 3 WTT titles to her name, and she'll be hoping to emulate big brother Tomokazu Harimoto, who sealed his place in the semis earlier today.
On the road here, a win over Ju Chun-hee, quite an exciting battle, 3-1, and then a 3-0 victory over Romania's Bernie Sush. So Miwa Harimoto in outstanding form, one of the few non-Chinese players who's ever beaten the world number 1 Sun Ying-sha, and a lot of motivation here.
Huge motivation, of course, playing against this expectant crowd. And for those of you who are into the small details and the technicalities, that's what the players are dealing with at the minute, and 1,000 world ranking points on the line as well. Well, these 2 players will pick up at least 175 points for reaching this stage, but they want to go further. Of course they do, and the fan vote overwhelmingly in favour of WANGMANYU. Miwa Harimoto picking up 3 out of the 3, I'm trying to do some maths here, 3 in 10 votes going to Miwa Harimoto. And Adam, I know that you don't get drawn into predictions, but what do you think of the fan vote? Do you think that's a fair representation of what we can expect?
Yeah, it seems pretty accurate. You might even say, well, it's their first time facing. Miwa Harimoto she's beaten Sun Ying-sha. If you can do that, it seems reasonable that you could beat WANGMANYU. These are 2 of the best in the world. So, yeah, the fan vote
Harimoto
seems fair enough.
First game, Harimoto to serve.
Almost ready to get underway. Miwa Harimoto to serve, looking for a place in the semi-finals.
Left, level. Love 1.
Mature play here from Miwa to play passively early on in the point. There's no panic. There's a sense of, let's just sort of test the waters, dip our toes, see what happens here in the short game. But this time quick to get in. Short serve and then moves to follow with the backhand. Extra spin for security, converting her second serve. 50-50 on her first two, MIWA. Good defense to cover the middle. MIWA, after that shot, was right into the elbow. This right here, what a save, up on 1 foot. Makes her way back in after a beautiful backhand punch, but just too much pace from WANGMANYU, recognizing the opponent was making her move back in.
One, three.
Was decisive from MIWA Harimoto. Took it really confidently. Nice, clean forehand winner. How do you approach this match if you are MIWA Harimoto?
Oh man, good times, good times.
3-3.
Yeah, I think taking parallel shots where you can is going to be important, but there's a lot. I mean, table tennis is such a nuanced sport. I think the analogy I would make is, imagine you put a security lock on your luggage and it had 3 wheels. Each wheel has 0 through 9. Right? 3 wheels there, right? Imagine adding a 4th wheel. That's how much more there is to consider in table tennis, because spin is such a part of this game. 3 points apiece now to the first towel break.
3-4.
I don't know if that resonated with you, but what it's going to take from MIWA Harimoto has been in the making for years. She was born in a table tennis club. She's been raised by 2 Chinese provincial players and grown up with a world-class big brother. And she comes out here today having studied this opponent for their first ever meeting on her computer last night with sparring partners in the hall. She's been watching WANGMANYU for years, and this is the first time they share the screen together. At least in a WTT event, the premier events of the world. So more specifically, short game is going to be important, efficiency is going to be important, belief is going to be important, fighting each point, each battle, and recovering, expecting the ball back every time. And she handles the change of pace here very well. WANGMANYU with a slow, spinny shot. MIWA, the in and out game is much tougher than side to side. But she moves in there, adjusts, closes the racket, and spins it back for the win. 2-point lead for the 16-year-old, 10 years the younger.
5-6.
That's good work from WANGMANYU across the diagonal.
It's also a fine balance of celebrating your mini victories every point, but remembering that you haven't crossed the line yet. That finish line, the end game, is where it really gets tough.
6-6.
That 2-point lead that the 16-year-old was enjoying has now disappeared.
Good shovel serve there. WANGMANYU covers well with the backhand. These are 2 tall players. WANGMANYU just a little bit the taller. She's going to use that backhand to cover the elbow more if she can't turn for a convincing forehand.
We saw it used to great effect there.
Liu Guoliang right there, president of CTTA, alongside Secretary General Qin Zhejian, 2 legends of the game themselves. Been holding down, well, the strongest team the sport has ever seen.
Oh, it was a killer blow from WANGMANYU. Players just testing each other out in the opening stages of the rally.
Good parallel forehand here, recognizing a little wiggle room for a ball that stayed right near the edge of the table. Keeping that hand cool, setting up a shovel serve.
8-7.
Extra spin on this. Miwa doing her job here. Satsuki Odo watching on alongside the women's team coach, finishing up his term before champions Incheon.
Nicely done. Miwa Harimoto celebrates to herself, and you said, Adam, it's a fine line between celebrating every point and knowing that the finish line is a long way away, but that was a point worth celebrating.
Quickly celebrating and getting ready to come back to the next point with belief and a clear plan. Miwa Harimoto with momentum and the serves. This is a big escape for WANGMANYU because Miwa Harimoto set it up so well. Rocket backhand right into the middle. That was where she earned herself advantage. And gets a clear forehand. Get ready. Right here. A bit above net height. So Miwa, you can understand the facial expression.
And she goes just off the side of the table. It's 2 game points for WANGMANYU in what's been a very, very tight opener here.
It's been incredibly close in so many aspects, but it feels like a receiver's game. Ma Lin there, momentum with WANGMANYU. Ma Lin taking Liu Shiwen to the World Championships in 2019 after 10 years of trying. And now it's WANGMANYU with their toes on the line.
10-9.
First of 2 game wins, and she saves it well.
Continuing the streak of the receiver's success out here, under pressure. It just feels like the second half of this game, there's been a whole lot of servers not having the advantage or ultimately taking the point.
It's the receiver's game. No longer WANGMANYU gets it wrapped up with the second game point, 11 points to 9. A close, intriguing first game between WANGMANYU, last year's beaten finalist, and Miwa Harimoto, the number 6 seed here. Plenty to take from that one.
Yeah, learning quickly is a big part of adaptability in table tennis, and in a best-of-5 match like it is here today, you don't have a lot of time to adjust, so Miwa's got her work cut out.
Here's a look then at the women's seeds. Hina Hayata and Satsuki Odo, the only 2 who have been knocked out of the competition so far. We saw them knocked out at the quarterfinal stage earlier today. Miwa Harimoto, the last remaining Japanese seed in this one. Can she cause an upset? She's got ground to make up if she is to get past WANGMANYU, with China occupying the other 5 seeded spots. Satsuki Odo we see as well here, back in the arena, having been involved in an absolute epic a little earlier on against Sun Ying-sha. That one was 3-1. That was one of the best matches of the week so far. It really was gripping stuff.
Second game.
I was getting messages.
1 to serve. Level.
Enjoying some Chongqing hot pot, and fans were going crazy for that match. Crying, screaming, cheering, biting their nails.
Love 1.
There's a lot on the line, as you mentioned. The last standing non-Chinese player. It's a big deal. And while 2 of those seeds have been grayed out, 2 more will be by the end of tonight. This is the counter she needed at the end of last game, bringing WANGMANYU in over the table. Forehand flick makes it look so casual, just perfect placement with all the heat coming in. Receiver's game continuing. Not a point yet by the serving player in game number 2. Pendulum serve here, half long. Good darting, sort of tomahawk push. And the punch, well, it's a lot of pressure with WANGMANYU on the other side, waiting for a cross court.
1-3.
First serving point we've seen this game. And a big one for Miwa to get an early lead here. Still just 2 points between them.
1-4.
3 points ahead for Miwa Harimoto.
Yeah, she's playing smart to go right to that target, the middle. WANGMANYU will depend on the backhand a lot more. More efficient stroke in the women's game of speed. She'll need to use that a lot.
4-2.
Point 1 on serve, finally for WANGMANYU.
Shovel serve to the middle. A little bit shallow there to change the rhythm. Bounce way inside the table. It's not a hearing question. I think that's more of a, who knows, it could be. It could be listen to the contact. Gives you just that much of a clue in terms of how fast the ball is going to come off the racket.
Two straight points for WANGMANYU and a shake of the head from Miwa Harimoto. 3 points up. She's now being pegged back.
Good Chiquita there inside the table. But WANGMANYU quite comfortable. Frapp pays it back. She's physically fit, but there's a reason you don't see too many forehands close to the table in the women's game. When you have to do it twice, it's a lot to recover from. It's a physical fitness test there. Not just of the shoulder, but the whole body to keep its balance and stay compact.
Again, a similar story there for WANGMANYU to the previous point we saw.
Play, please.
Ooh, a nice turn here. A little bit of a no look. This is an Adriana Diaz type shot to cover the middle. Look at that, leans back, seatbelt shot right to that upper left shoulder. It's quite abbreviated here. Diaz, that's what they call her here in China.
7-4.
WANGMANYU looks frustrated. Deep sigh and a puff out of the cheeks. That 3-point lead now for Harimoto back intact.
Seems understandable.
Stunning point for WANGMANYU. That's more like it.
Well, one of the fastest rallies we've seen in some time, backhand to backhand, using the length of the table, and accelerates, sees that little opening, and as the window shuts, she still manages to escape just after curfew.
Nice backhand flick from Miwa Harimoto, making life difficult for her opponent.
Yeah, the investment in the spin on this one really threw a wrench in the system, forced WANGMANYU to hold back on what otherwise would have been a much faster point in terms of the speed of the shot in the rally.
8-6.
I would call a timeout. I think Dad's on his feet to do that.
Timeout.
Here it is. It's just too much pressure, and it's too important in this game. That right there is stay forward. Don't get back. If you lean back, you're going to be on your heels for a moment, and you won't be ready for the next shot. 来讲说，还有明天晚上拉壶水还球还好了，是吧？这意思，一拿着嘛，他全部一拿着，他等着球，今天是拿他摆转，他一摆转就直接去他中间靠正手拉一回，凡是对男手你必先变他，他越了一会儿他就变你的就是他。一波
有可能他摆不了短，他等于说要怎么弄了，或者给他拉起来，我感觉就是，其实他就是这样，之前对他真的他这个。
Miwa Harimoto still ahead, but only just. That 3-point lead relinquished. Wangmanyu knocking on the door at 7-8 down. Miwa Harimoto forced into the timeout in this second game. Let's see what kind of a restart she makes.
7.
What will the message be for Miwa Harimoto following the timeout?
Eight.
Good placement on that one, right back into the middle after a backpedaling Miwa. Came in for an early shot and had to recover.
Rally of the match so far. And Miwa Harimoto, she needed that. Having lost the first point after the timeout.
I guess it's been a rare occasion to see forehand-to-forehand exchanges here. With Wangmanyu behind the table, Miwa can afford the time it takes to recoil, stay near the table, and in control of the point with the forehand.
Superb shot placement from Miwa Harimoto as she brings up 2 game points. Can she hold her nerve?
Heavy topspin on the first, right there into the middle, and then accelerates forward, a little bit of bend on that to make it curve out of reach. Beautiful pattern. And it took 3 shots to get through, but it's not over yet. Hasn't been a server's game, so we'll see if she can make this an advantage here, Miwa.
So it's still not a server's game. 1 game point remains.
Long push is the way of saying, now the fight begins. You take the opening attack, I'm getting ready for a counter. Must cash in the timeout by winning this game.
Oh, a huge forehand. Wangmanyu swipes at the ball to put away the winner. Draws level at 10-all. Miwa Harimoto 10-8 up, then 10-9 up. And how about that from Wangmanyu?
This is nerves to me. That serve for Miwa, it's gonna be tough not to be punishing herself a bit. It was lukewarm, left it there for Wangmanyu to take, and she did not turn it down.
Agonizing for Miwa Harimoto, now facing Wangmanyu's game point. Momentum very much with the world number 2 now. Coming from 8-10 down to earn herself the game point here. Wangmanyu wraps up game number 2. And again, another close one, but how costly will that be for Miwa Harimoto?
It's tough. Professional athletes, all of us, sometimes you make a decision, or maybe not even a decision, but just lose focus for the briefest of moments where so much is required and you feel a sense of regret, but you can't change the past. And the longer you let it haunt you, it's winning. And we've got to move on to stoicism. Will it prevail? Miwa fighting closely, but she's down 0-2.
Some last-minute words of advice from Marlin. With Wangmanyu 1 game away from a place in the semi-finals.
Interestingly enough, words, a reminder simply that it's okay. Megwanshi, it's okay. that means there is still concern. Wang Manyu is not satisfied with the scoreline of the last 2 games. It's been too close for comfort. She still needs to be relaxed, to be encouraged to find her best performance. But MIWA brings the pressure and changes it up for a serve from the center.
Still not a service game, Adam.
These are fun statistics. We often get serve percentages. Maybe somewhere through this game we'll have a look. Wouldn't be surprised if it's way lower than usual.
One.
We're now rooting for the serve percentages to be low. I can see the look. You're like, server's game. It's breaking, coming back to the way it usually does. There is an advantage typically to having serves. There's the stat. Look how low they are. 3 out of every 10 serves, MIWA wins the point. And less than 4 out of every 10, Wang Manyu wins the point. Those were the stats we're talking about. That feeling, it was just so blaring. We wouldn't talk about it otherwise, but the speculation, I mean, you guys watching at home could probably feel it too. It was shockingly advantageous for the receiver in this match.
Well, not that time though. What a shot placement that was from Wang Manyu right into the far corner.
Good side swiping brush there from MIWA. The save here. And the angle on this, that was a crazy side spin shot. I didn't know Wang Manyu had that in her repertoire.
It was a great recovery from Wang Manyu midway through that rally to continue playing and to stay in it. But MIWA Harimoto, just too good.
Three.
MIWA keeping that racket right at about collarbone height. Trying to stay on top of everything. Change it up to the short side. Wang Manyu not easy to get through. When you've got a good backhand, you don't need to step around, which means your forehand is better covered. Wang Manyu in position, tied up.
Of your seat stuff. Wang Manyu spins around to face Ma Lin, who's on his feet, liked what he saw.
Tough not to like here. Little bit of defense, leaves the ball up high and counters back. Punch on the line. Some risky play that pays off to put her in front.
Let 4-3.
It's agonizing for MIWA Harimoto.
She put a bit of extra effort into this. You could hear it. Racket low. Feet came off the ground, both of them, for that shot. She's already used her timeout, but a bit of a streak here. 3 points on the trot for Wang Manyu.
Four, 5.
This is going to be a key factor for me. MIWA staying as close to the table as possible. Touch play, started it well. It took 2 pushes, very strategically and diametrically opposed. Short forehand, deep backhand. And right after that, finally Wang Manyu left a little space.
Well, no space for that one. She almost took her head off.
Man, reminiscent of that serve at 10-9 in game 2. Except this one was actually a bit tighter. Wang Manyu making a more impressive steal on the receive there. I like having a vocal coach on the bench. In general, if I'm out there playing, Wang Manyu's got the overwhelming majority of the fans here. at least in this head-to-head. But still, having that reminder that somebody's got your back, that you're not just playing for yourself, Ma Lin lets that be known.
Let 7-4. Five, 7.
After those two let serves, you might think, geez, if you're newer to table tennis, you might think, can she serve without hitting the net? But that's how much pressure there is to keep the ball low to the net. The first time it comes over the net at all without touching it, Miwa does that to it. Service has to be so precise, so surprising, because the receivers, as we've seen statistically, have been so strong in this match.
5-8.
These are big points coming up now for Miwa Harimoto. 2 games down with Wangmanyu closing in on the end of game number 3.
Yeah, now or never. Crunch time. Just to clean the mind, 0-0.
8-6.
Good serving from the number 6 seed. Going against the grain, going against what the statistics of the match have told us so far.
Yeah, nice change up for placement and contact as well. Opposite rotation, as to usual.
9-6.
Shovel serve to the forehand, tight enough to get a passive receive, and Wangmanyu sets up the third ball. You and I talked about this on the way in, what servers are trying to do. Power down the line.
9.
And just to elaborate on that conversation, at this level of play, you're not serving to win the point outright, you're serving to set up your third ball attack. But Miwa completely derailed that train here with a fast receive into the backhand.
Eight, 9.
Well, this is a great
Timeout.
display from Miwa Harimoto, and she forces Wangmanyu into a timeout.
Exactly. 2 big points in a row here. Pressure with the backhand. For me, I think you were going to ask earlier if I understood anything of Miwa and her dad. And from the little that I did, it was rely on the backhand, take it out in front, spin, get aggressive.
Well, here's a look behind the scenes in the practice hall. It was so busy, so buzzy all week, but as we work our way through the draw, that 32 has been whittled right down. Here's a look then at Liang Jingkun practicing ahead of his match against Felix Lebrun. And there's a look at the Frenchman here as well, alongside his brother Alexei. 2 prodigious talents for French table tennis.
Fun fact. No, yours was on topic. Let's hear it.
I was about to say we're really looking forward to that next match, but give me the fun fact.
Yeah, Felix was actually warming up with Adriana Diaz yesterday, which was one of the most creative practice sessions I've probably ever seen.
I would have loved to have seen that
8,
one.
9.
We'll make it happen. I'm sure they'll practice again. 1 point down, the player who caused the timeout for Wangmanyu.
9-0.
And a reverse pendulum serve again has paid off here. It's come out effective right out of her opponent's timeout, continuing the streak. 3 points in a row, and it's 9-all. Every game's been close so far, but they've all fallen the way of Wangmanyu, and that's not a coincidence. She's earned this 2-0 lead. She has the serves right now, and in this match, maybe that wouldn't be what she would choose.
Wangmanyu raises her hand by way of apology, and she earns herself a match point. But you said when Miwa Harimoto was 5-8 down, it was now or never. She's brought the pressure to Wangmanyu, but now it is the world number 2 who has the match point. Through to the semi-finals with a straight games win over battling MIWA Harimoto. The number 6 seed dispatched in 3, and WANGMANYU is through to the semi-finals. Well, we often see these 3-0 matches, but often they're a lot closer than that scoreline would suggest, and that was one such match.
Every single game came down to 2 points between them, and from MIWA Harimoto having 2 game points in game number 2, having her chances in games 1 and 3 in terms of keeping it tight, we have to remember, we're looking at a world champion, a world number 2, who is 10 years the senior and plays for the Chinese national team, living full-time in Beijing with very few days off. WANGMANYU is an incredible player, and MIWA, at 16 years old, is incredibly well respected, and she's earned it. She's not there yet. It's WANGMANYU